Once the fund enters into a project, that goes to the developer, and in the case of Bakhvi 1 and 2, which are projects under construction, you then have to ensure that those requirements are followed by the contractors and eventually their subcontractors. So that's what we call the contractual chain. So you need to have the obligations, which are the commitments which are taken by the fund, need to be included into the agreement, the financing agreement with the developer, who in his turn has to put these requirements into the contract with the contractor, so that anyone who is involved on site follows the specific requirements of the projects, which, as I said, are the national legislation obligations and the IFC performance standards. So it's all goes through the contractual documentation, and then for the implementation, it's all about monitoring. So having in place health and safety manager, ENS staff who on the site will be on day-to-day basis monitoring that the commitments that were initially taken by the funds are effectively implemented on the site. You can look at it on different phases. I think there's a lot, on the legal side, there's a lot of emphasis on issues related to soil management, erosion control, air quality, water quality, so more I would call that the physical impact. There's less emphasis on of the EIA permit requirements, on issues related to biodiversity. So that's something that came in addition from the supplementary studies that we did. We notably identified a number of species which are of conservation interest for the fauna or flora of Georgia, had not been spotted by the EIA, but were spotted thanks to the additional surveys that we did for the project. So that's important, and that went then with specific mitigation measures which were targeted at specific species. The Caucasus salamander, the reptiles which you have in the area, they got specific mitigation measures that were not required by the EIA. It's the same on stakeholder engagement. There's, of course, according to the legislation, a process of consultation at the scoping stage, at the EIA stage, but then there's no further requirements from the legislation to have a continued stakeholder engagement across the project life. And this is something that came from the additional requirements that the project is following, which are the IFC performance standards. And that's why the project put in place, in addition to the mandatory consultations, tools, what we call the stakeholder engagement plan and the grievance mechanisms, to ensure that there's a comprehensive and inclusive engagement with the communities, and readily available tools for people if they have questions or queries to express.